Morning, it's Vijay here. Today is Friday, 11th April 2025, and over the holiday, I think the bulls must have been salivating that the US markets went up, global markets went up to 10%, and we saw Gift Nifty also up 10%. So everyone thought that today, it will open 10% higher and the short sellers will be squeezed. And while the short sellers were praying to Lord Mahavir, I suppose, yesterday was Mahavir Jayanti. And Mahavira talked about non-violence, and there is violence in the markets across all categories. And today the violence has returned. So we are having a continuous non-stop violence in the markets for the last 10-15 days. So there is a Hindi saying, "Jab Bhagwan deta hai, chappad pad ke deta hai." That is what is, I think, the nature is unleashed on us, and the greed and fear is moving 180 degrees every 1 hour. So initially, the blame was put entirely on Trump. Then Trump, moved away from his original idea, is what many people felt. Though I feel that the Trump's original idea, which I talked about, Trump did a magic trick about a week ago, that he'll make you concentrate on the reciprocal tariffs while he will put the baseline tariffs, which will remain permanently. So if you have seen and heard Besant, who is the Treasury Secretary for months, I have listened to more than 30 hours of his interviews. It was very clear that they're looking at baseline tariffs to stay, and they're going to get their money from there. Now, what happened on the reciprocal was just a drama where most people concentrated on what formulas they used, and they rubbished the formulas, and it was very arbitrary. The reason, in my opinion, it was arbitrary was it was never a serious proposal in the first place. The most serious proposal is 10%. US is getting the 10%. Previously, it used to get hardly anything. So that is baked into their projections. Now, Trump made everyone happy. The markets went up like anything, and then again they have started falling yesterday, and the futures are trading lower. In the interim, the US 10-year yield had gone below 4, 3.88. From there, it went up to 4.5, close to 4.5, and it is still strong. If for instance, the Trump's plan was to, make US 10-year yields go lower, that seems to have not worked, at least as of now. And people blame China, saying that China will dump treasuries. Now, the only question, one logical question one should ask is, what will China get it? I mean, will get out of this? It will be creating more problems for China if you look at macroeconomic and currency fundamentals. So it is not China who is dumping it. I'm very clear. And my sources in Hong Kong confirm my worst fears, that it is Japan which is dumping. And more than Japan, I mean, there are some institutions in Japan which are dumping, and that is why you're seeing the treasury yields, US treasury yields, shoot up. Otherwise, logically, they should have actually stabilized. And you're also seeing Nikkei. Yesterday there was a lot of selling in the beginning, but yet I think the government absorbed it, I would say, or governmental institutions absorbed it, so they gave a sort of stability. And now again, you are seeing today selling, and you are hearing that old bogey of N carry trade. It's not actually a bogey. It's what happened to us in August. Globally, markets crashed because N strengthened. So, what is this carry trade? I will just give it a very in a very short this one through a graphic. So basically, the end carry trade was that Japan had low interest rates, almost negative. The people used to borrow in, and then the JPY USD was always in favor of the borrower, and they used to get a higher yield by putting in banks all over the world, and primarily US. So US had a higher interest rates. The differential I'm talking of vis-a-vis Japan. US never had negative interest rates, so it made sense for Japanese investors to put either in countries like India, which are relatively stable, or countries which are highly stable, like a country which is highly stable like US, but having a lower differential. But we had also the currency factor to come into play. So therefore, that this game was going on in August. In first week of August, it all collapsed. I will show you the graph, and then the governments had to come and rescue. So we were affected very badly because if you look at what the FDI stock by country is the main investing countries in the last 4 years. Data only I have. I'm not able to get the recent data, and I don't have the difference between FDI and FII because it looks like FDI subsumes FII. So Japan at 6.2% is number five, sorry, the top five investor. So last time we got affected because Japanese investments into India, some were withdrawn, mostly portfolio investments. So which we may have that shakeout today again because of that. The second and more important, not more, the second and equally important thing is a bank called Nochu. It's the largest institutional investor. It's got an investment portfolio. This is a Japanese bank, investment bank. US 400 billion and assets are exceeding 840 billion. There's just about 3,000 workers there, but they are really big players. And apparently, Nocho is in trouble. Japanese government is trying to bail them out. Hopefully, they'll bail them out this weekend, but not before enormous amount of volatility, which we will see. So I just wanted to mention to you what happened last time, the carry trade impact. NDTV had talked about, carried some data, this is August 24 data. So 5.8% of India's external debt is yen denominated. So yen movement will affect our external debt, not only dollar movement, which most people focus on. And 38.5 billion of India's external debt is yen denominated. So it's huge. So anything happens in yen, it will affect. See, we always look at DXY. We should also look at rupee yen or at least dollar yen to understand where we are. So this is just, I'm regurgitating what the information is. Tariffs mayhem on markets. Dow Jones went up 10%. Yesterday it's come down 2.5%. S&P came down 3.5. Nasdaq came down by 4.3. So this is, and VIX continues to go up. It is at around 41, and then US futures have extended the decline. Nasdaq and S&P are down more than 1%. Today, as I mentioned, Nikkei is down by nearly close to 1,600 points. The game is in Japan and not so much in US. Japan will affect the global markets as well as US. Brent is down $63. Gold is created an all-time high today because people are running to safety. It is no longer the US dollar. US dollar is below 100. I was expecting 98. It's coming very close to my target. So this was global equities yesterday. It was 2.5% on the Dow Jones, S&P 3.5. European markets did well because European markets had closed lower before the Trump's announcement on the previous day. So therefore, FTSE, CAC and DAX did very well. I think today they'll all fall till the Rescue Act starts from the government. That I'm very confident something will happen over the weekend, and that we have to see exactly how. Okay, I'll just see this. Sorry, here. Okay. Now, just have a look at where we are on terms of, the US dollar Japanese yen. In August, it had collapsed. Collapsed means I'm talking it had strengthened dramatically to around 140. Today, we are sitting at around 143. So this is should worry a lot of people. And just look at the JP 10-year yield. The 10-year yield is also coming down significantly. Sorry, what happened to this? Okay. I'll just stop this and see again whether I can share. Yeah, let's look out. No. Yeah. So now, and US 10-year yield, if you look at US 10-year yield also, what happened to that? Yeah, sorry, I'm having some problems. See Nikkei, for instance. Nikkei is down today about 1,500 points, and DXY is just crossed about 100 now. It had gone below 100. So what we are seeing is Nikkei has done what we call a double bottom, or actually it fell below the previous bottom of August. So Japanese government, Japanese central bank, I suspect will intervene maybe later in the day or early morning Monday. But what is this message? The message here is it is not China who is dumping dollars. It is not China who is dumping US 10-year bonds. It is Japan who's doing it. And only when that problem is sorted out, then you will get stability in the market. but you have to expect more volatility because there is one big bank. It's somewhat like Lehman Brothers, which is sitting there, the Norinchik Bank. It's the full form is Norinchik Bank, but called as Nochu. So I feel you'll hear about Nochu in the next couple of days. But I think the governments will rescue it. But you have to be prepared for enormous amount of volatility. I think we'll escape volatility. So I'll be fully invested. We believe we are safe because we are in gold and silver at 40% of our portfolio. But if you are invested or trading today, you have to be very careful. Or if you're invested in stocks where there is Japanese investment, there I think one needs to be careful. I have a suspicion that L&T has got some Japanese interest, or Japanese interest is there in L&T. So that is why L&T is showing weakness. There could be other companies, maybe Reliance. We don't know it because I have not been able to get the data. That data is not available country-wise as to which countries have invested in what stocks. But nevertheless, I think it should be more in old economy, so that we should be careful. I'm focusing more on that. Even today's video is focusing more on that. On the weekend, we'll talk about this TCS results came, which are, in my opinion, not good. I'm very bearish on IT, but of course, there could be short-term bounces, bear market rallies, but I think IT has got a long way to go down. So whatever you do, I hope it is successful. I'm extremely careful, and I'll watch Japan's asset classes for me to make a decision on Monday. I still am optimistic. I feel things will become okay by the next week, but the next few days, I think volatility will not stop. US 10-year yields will shoot up, or shooting up, and then there will be pressure from the Fed, US government, Japanese government, global central bankers will most likely come into play on the weekend. So let's have a good weekend, but in the interim, just be careful. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day.